Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to a video review for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. As always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. To start with furry, not really any. I don't want to get more into that, but no, there's not. Moving on to the good and the bad. So, this movie came out in 2014. Also, shout out for having just two as the end thing, as opposed to some other subtitle underneath it. So appreciate that. But this movie came out in 2014, and compared to some of the CGI that has come out in the past few years, this is so much prettier. Like the CGI in this, from the web slinging through New York scene, the battle in the Times Square scene, and then the final battle sequence, like supremely beautiful. Like they had the exact perfect amount, speed, and usage of slow-mo. Like they didn't have it too much, they didn't have it too little, they didn't have the shots linger too long or just be like, oh, that's neat. Like they had a point and a purpose for each time, and it was just perfectly used. And I just feel like the amount of care and depth for the CGI that was used is just phenomenal. Every single thing on screen is just perfect with that CGI. I loved rewatching this film. It is so much better looking than some of the stuff that has come out recently. So watch this film if you want to just beautiful Spider-Man film. This movie, I think, is the prettiest, most beautiful Spider-Man film out of all three of the Spider-Mans. I'm not going to count the animated ones because that's a different ballgame. Don't worry about it. So check this one out. So there's that moment that I know is from the comic book, so they had to have it, and character and development, blah 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 blah. But the moment that I'm talking about, and I'm not going to say what it is because it's definitely a spoiler, but for that moment, if you didn't cry at least the first time, you are a heartless, terrible person, and you should be ashamed of yourself for not having any sort of feelings whatsoever. Because I cry every single time I watch this movie and get to that point. It is the worst. But I mean in the best way, but in the worst way, So yeah, once again, moving on from the sadness. Once again, the chemistry between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield is absolutely phenomenal, and that's what makes this film, on top of the beautiful CGI. But at the time, the first time I watched it, it was more about the characters, and they did such a good job. Yeah, if you watch the trailers when this movie first came out, they really highlighted the Rhino, and the Rhino was very much a throwaway character, and Paul Giamatti just having a hammy old time. But I actually preferred that they focused on that because it left more, and I'm not going to rewatch the trailer, so maybe they did get more into the spoiler territory, but I feel like they did such a good job focusing on that, because if you focus on that and then you watch the film, you can be like, oh, I guess they changed directions and decided not to have that type of thing, so that what is actually happening during the film is more surprising, more interesting, and keeps your attention longer because it hasn't already been spoiled by the trailers. But again, I'm not going to rewatch the trailers to know for sure, so caution yourself if you're going to watch the trailers, because maybe it will spoil something. This review won't, though. Just to understand that I think that the actor that they got to play Norman Osborn's son, I think they tried to make him a thing for a while, like Jai Courtney, and I don't think he ever became a thing. Don't get me wrong, I loved Valerian and the City of a Thousand Suns, or City of a Thousand Planets, or whatever, Planet of a Thousand Cities, whatever. That was a good movie, and he was also awesome in Chronicle, and that's why I think they tried to make him the next thing, but he just didn't quite reach it for me. And yeah, it was fine, but just didn't quite get there, in my opinion. But you're also you have to compete with previous versions of the character, which are just totally, you can't beat them. You can't, when you have that to go against, it's really hard to compete if you're playing a similar or same character. It doesn't quite work. So overall, I think it worked for the movie, but the previous versions of the character, I think, worked a little bit better. But it was still a fun time, and like I said, um, the fight scenes with Electro were fantastic. And yes, Jamie Foxx is fantastic in this movie. I know from just what I've read on the internet that there were some people that didn't like how dorky and nerdy and, I don't know, gross looking that they made Jamie Foxx's character, because Jamie Foxx is a suave, cool, badass, really handsome man. I didn't mind. I thought that I like that they chose, this guy who is beautiful and strong and fantastic and suave and all these other things to play this character because he did it so well. And I think it worked for who they were going for. So I liked it. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of Charlize Theron in Monster. Yeah, that one she wore like a whole fat suit and like fat makeup and all that jazz. But like, it was about the acting capability. And yeah, that one is more drama piece for like Oscar bait, and then this one is, a superhero film. But he did a fantastic job in it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I liked what he did with the character, and I thought that his motivations and everything else, I think that they worked well enough. So, once again, this movie is visually appealing, has great chemistry, great pacing, and yeah, just fantastic movie, even though it makes me cry. So, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.